2018, a crack YouTube unit was sent to social media prison by an algorithm for the crime they didn't commit. These producers promptly escaped from maximum security social media stockade to the internet underground. Today, still wanted by social media, they survive as producers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the Smash team.
All right, welcome to the live stream. Looking at the sun at 193 angstroms. That coronal hole facing the Earth. We would also note that the North Pole coronal hole is shrinking. An indication that the North Pole field is continuing to gain in strength. The South Pole coronal hole remains pretty beefy. Here's 304 angstroms. We do see some filaments there on the eastern edge, north as well as south of the equator. Otherwise, not a lot going on, although there is some good news. 10.7 centimeter radial flux has gone back up to 68. So it was at 67 for about 2 or 3 days there, folks. Now it's back up to 68. And for you new viewers, we use the 10.7 centimeter radial flux to measure solar activity when there are no sunspots, for instance, such as now. Let's move on to more stuff, such as cycling. Now, if you're going to buy a bike, head to veloshop.net and do so. Maybe buy 3. You want to sponsor me this year? Well, we're raising $5,500 by May 1st, or attempting to. So, also, if you want to sponsor the entire team, or if you have any questions, concerns, etc., about ad space, we are living billboards. So email me at smashomash@gmail.com. Also, support us on Patreon if you are able. We have 3 patrons. Please be our 4th. $1 a month makes a huge difference. We've also started a nonprofit organization. The paperwork's not filed for that yet, folks. However, we did buy the .org, as you can see here. And here's the mission. It's to assist, study, and report the ongoing formation of a unified theory of physics, to raise the awareness of the general public of the relationship between space weather and Earth effects, to connect and consult with media organizations to multiply our reach, to demonstrate cutting-edge proof of concept solutions to problems, to publish scientific papers in a multidisciplinary manner, to assist mankind by advancing the study of predictive phenomenon in order to optimize value, reduce risk / liability, save lives and resources, and adapt no matter what the adversity is, and to not be ossified in our beliefs, and to treat those who are with love, respect, and inclusion to the scientific discussion. Also got a PayPal, paypal.me/smashomash. And we appreciate all of our donors' support. It makes a huge difference. Thanks for allowing us to have a non-zero budget. And that needs a refresh. Just to make sure we got the most updated information, folks. This one does refresh by itself, but anyway. So we see a BZ that's pretty convergent on the 0 line there. And the BT is at about 5. No current magnetic connection to that coronal hole as we see a phi angle of 373. And check out the solar wind density. Wow. 0.11 protons per cubic centimeter, folks. Solar wind is also all over the place, ranging between about 325 and about 400, currently at 374 kilometers per second. Load up the Gong 2 image. And there's what's going on in the local heliospheric magnetic environment. And I would note stereo A and stereo B, which has been busted since 2014. Anyway, there's your magnetic environment. This data is 2 hours and 9 minutes old. Check out spaceweather.com. I don't think I refreshed this one, so let's do that. And check it out. There's a solar wind. Jeez. 0.1 proton per cubic centimeter. Talk about low density. And this is back up to date now. 10.7 centimeter radio flux back to 68. So that's a good sign, folks. We are expecting a coronal hole wind stream May 2nd. So conditions are going to increase according to all logical estimates. And let's refresh spaceweathernews.com. Thank you, Ben Davidson, for putting all this data in the same place. We see no kind of X-ray flux going on. Totally flatlined. And you can see the solar wind data here is corroborated by both the ACE and the Discover spacecraft. There's a magnetometer. KP is at 2. We see a surprising dip in the electron flux here. Not really expecting that. Kind of odd. No charging hazards. And the F2 layer is looking very discharged. Not too much of a surprise with the solar wind density at 0.1 proton per cubic centimeter. Well below a nominal level, folks. There's the Aurora Borealis, there's the Australis. And let's move on to other stuff because I got about 97 tabs open today. By the way, we use Brave Browser, a browser designed to not spy on you. Check out the Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard for the Enlil prediction, which looks like it's changed since yesterday. Let's see what they've got. It looks like they're anticipating an uptick in the velocity, but they're way off with the plasma density there, folks. Check it out. They're predicting us to be currently at about 4 protons per cubic centimeter, and we're at 0.1. So very low levels of activity there. Very weak plasma stream coming out of the sun right now, folks. And let's look at the total electron content, which I think is the next slide. Let's see if my memory serves. Please load. Please load. There we go. And we should see very low levels of electron content here. So it's good news for folks around the equator using a GPS, as your errors will be very low today. Very low levels of GPS errors around the world. and radio propagation is going to suck. And let's move on to the magnetosphere movies. We're going to look at the pressure, the density, and the velocity, starting with the velocity. And boy, oh boy, talk about lack of density. This might be the weakest magnetosphere we've shown on the channel, folks. There's the velocity, which is anomalous to say the least. The magnetic shields are down, folks. Shields are down. We do see an odd blob of low velocity out here. Let's move on to the density. There's the density, folks. Talk about a low density plasma environment. Wow. And that's what it looks like when you're at 0.1 protons per cubic centimeter. By the way, all the music is original on this channel, folks. We'll get into it in a minute. Here's the pressure. And man, oh man. Talk about a weak magnetosphere. That might be the weakest we've ever seen on this channel, folks. Let's move on to ground magnetic perturbations. By the way, I invited Eugene Bagashoff to this live stream. I wonder if he showed up. Anyway, there's the magnetic perturbations over the poles. Not expecting to see too much going on, although if we get a sudden magnetic connection to that coronal hole, as we could at any moment. Now, there is a bunch of plasma in between the sun and the earth right now, but a magnetic connection could happen with that coronal hole without warning. So here's the changes in the B field from the global perspective. And this is for all of you pole shift, pole excursion, pole reversal enthusiasts. And not a lot going on there. As the South Pole migrates toward Western Australia, and the two North Poles diverge, Siberia and Canada. Let's look at even more stuff, such as the location of you and your local planets. Mercury is just about to overtake Venus, and the Earth is creeping up on Jupiter and Saturn, which you should be able to see if you get up before sunrise. So if you're up before sunrise and you've got clear skies, look at the ecliptic. You should be able to see Jupiter and Saturn out there. Here is where stuff will be in 7 days. We will have a new moon, and so you should have great views of all things astronomical. Next, we're going to look at the Stereo A space weather beacon. Now, part of the reason we do what we do here is as a data archiving service, because we want this channel to appeal to as many people as possible. So it may be useful for anybody to watch these videos, as it takes less time to watch this video than it does to go through all the data. And since I look at this stuff every day, I figured I'd share it. So it looks like we've got a bunch of activity there. There's some crazy plasma blasts flying right across the front of Stereo A, as you can see. We did show a coronal mass ejection yesterday, and we see some coronal mass ejections out of the opposite side of the sun. So you are over here, and this one's only really showing CMEs heading the opposite way, out toward Uranus. If you're not familiar with where Stereo A is located, get your head out of Uranus. Stereo A is located about here. Stereo B is located about here. They're 1/3 of the way around the sun from us. If you weren't aware, and if you're a new viewer, thanks for tuning in. Let's refresh this, as this is old data. This is the SOHO coronagraph, and this is located in between the Earth and the Sun. There's that coronal mass ejection on the 27th, which should miss Earth to the west. And let's continue on here, as there's too much stuff to cover. We don't want these to be like 2 hours long. So anyway, there's the current situation over my head, and I'm located in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. I like to keep the ecliptic drawn on here because I like to orient myself to the south, as it's where the planets will be located. So Jupiter and Saturn should be visible. It's not too cloudy out. The moon has just risen, so it'll be a lovely crescent moon this morning if you get up before dawn. In fact, throughout half the day, you'll see a lovely crescent moon. And the question I have to ask is, where were you when Cygnus rose? Now, real astronomy nerds know that Cygnus never sets in the summertime, and that Deneb is our celestial pole at the other end of the precessional cycle. So just putting it out there, folks. If you weren't aware, study Deneb. We're going to get back to it in a minute. But first, we're going to look at cosmic rays. As we have such an incredibly weak magnetosphere right now, let's see if we see an uptick on ground-based neutron monitors. Here's Apatity. No significant uptick there. And there's Barentsburg. Same deal. How about Athens? We saw some wild spikes here in the past few days. And there's another one that's just receding now. So yesterday, just as today, we're at the same cosmic ray flux level for Athens as we were during yesterday's live stream. We do cover a little bit of different information every day, folks. So if you haven't watched the other stuff, you may be interested in it. So here's the Mexico City cosmic ray monitor. Nothing too extravagant happening there. Let's go to Moscow. If we're going through too fast, folks, just pause the video. We'll still be here when you unpause. Here's Oulu, Finland. Small uptick there in the past few hours, but nothing too crazy. Here's DOMC Antarctica. It looks like it's back to returning only daily data. That's fine. And here's DOMB Antarctica. We will have links to everything we visit here in the description. If we fail to put something up, let us know. Next, we're going to talk about Galaxy Zoo. And wow, what is going on with that? Anyway, zooniverse.org, Galaxy Zoo project. We need citizen scientists to classify galaxies. So let's classify this one, which the whole image is basically an artifact here. Anyway, let's classify it. I don't know why the coloring is so odd. That doesn't look like a jet there. I don't know. That's Anyway, let's just classify it because again, we only want the video to be so long here. No bar. If you set yourself up a login on this site, folks, you may get published in an astronomy paper. It's happened before, and we covered it on this channel. Is there a sign of a spiral arm pattern? Well, I'd say no. Is there a central bulge? Which reminds me, is there a bulge in our viewership? Well, not really. But there is a bulge here. And don't ask me if there's a bulge in my cycling shorts, because I'm not wearing cycling shorts. I'm going to say moderate. No pun intended, folks. Eugene Bagashov asks, when are you having it? You just appeared on the live stream, Eugene, so Thanks for Skyping me. Is it merging or disturbed? Let's say minor disturbance. And do we see any rare features? Irregular. We're going to say dust lane. We're going to say overlap, and we're going to say something else. All right. Here's the next one. It's pretty funky looking. So head to zooniverse.org, Galaxy Zoo Project, and you should classify this one as it's got signs of a spiral arm, a bar, irregularity. So hook it up. We only have about 7 million galaxies to go. Help us do the science. Follow us on Facebook if you haven't already. Facebook.com/smAsho. It's Facebook.com/smAshomash. Also follow us on Twitter. Now, I don't tweet, but we use this to make it easier for you to share with people that only use Twitter, for instance. And smAsho staff will put our videos up every day. Also, check me out on Instagram. This is a little more personal here. See what's going on behind the scenes a little bit, if you like. Instagram.com/smAshomash. We can't even get to 500 followers on there or 1,400 on YouTube for some reason, even though we're doing something nobody else in the world does. Also, follow us on minds.com/smAshomash. Yesterday, we covered this earthquake swarm around Kilauea. If you weren't aware, there is magma moving around, and we actually saw one last night. A small earthquake that was at negative 2.5 kilometers, indicating it was up on a mountain, 2,500 meters above sea level. So we're going to look at earthquakes in a moment. So stay tuned. Again, all the music's original. This one's called You, Me, Us from 2009. We've got tracks on SoundCloud. There are links in the description for that. And we've got tracks on soundclick.com/Golden Cat Productions. We branded it a little bit, looking like our YouTube page here, so that people understand that they're related. All the music is original. For instance, this particular track is on this site, I believe, available for purchase at 99 cents, just like Figurine, which I produced the next year in 2010. Been making music since about 2000 on a fairly major scale. And let's move on to earthquakes. Here's a 4.7 in Chile. Looks like we have a swarm in South America. Here's a 5.1 in Papua New Guinea. Looks like an earthquake uptick, folks. 4.6 in Chile. 4.4 in Peru. 5.0 in Vanuatu. Bit of an uptick, folks. Now, this is a major thing, a major warning for large earthquakes here, as that coronal hole is still pointing right at the Earth and could magnetically connect at any moment with no warning and kick off a large earthquake. So that's a big warning zone right there, as we see a deep quake at Vanuatu. Heads up, those in Oceania. New Zealanders, Fijians, Tongans, and Vanuatuans. I don't know if that's what you're called, but we see a 4.0 in Nevada. Let's take a look at that one. Near Carson City. If you felt this quake, folks, leave a comment. And we lost our place. We've been seeing a swarm in the Philippines the last couple days here. Here's another 4.6 there. Here's a 4.2 in Indonesia. 4.8 in Tajikistan. And yes, we have seen a small uptick in Middle East quakes also. Here's a deep quake at Tonga, increasing the risk factor for that area as well for a larger quake at the surface at about, well, a level 5. A 5 magnitude, that is. Here we see a Nicaraguan quake at a 4.4 magnitude, a Colombian quake at depth. So we're seeing deep quakes, folks. If you're in these areas, please have a plan, because there is a 7 magnitude earthquake drought happening right now. So have a plan, be an asset, not a liability in the event of a disaster. See a 5.4 on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, which used to be a rare event until the past couple of years. Here's a 5.0 at Greece, which just happens to be the antipode of Fiji, by the way. And a 4.3 at California. Check it out. Probably did not generate a tsunami, but let's take a look anyway. No watches, warnings, or threats, folks. Now, check this out. Kilauea has gone back to an active level. So is that going to start erupting again? Perhaps. And why can't I go back? All right, you've completely lost my place, USGS. I see what happened. It opened a new tab without warning. All right, there we go. And I just want to zoom in on Hawaii here for a moment. Now, we've seen earthquakes on Mauna Loa, somewhere around here, and we've seen many earthquakes around Kilauea, indicating that magma is moving and magma is inside the mountains. So there's a little forecast for you, folks. Kilauea may start erupting again. Let's look at pressure maps to see if we can tie any of these deep quakes together with low pressure systems. If you're not familiar with earthquake prediction procedures, check out quakewatch.net, as Ben Davidson is kind of the visionary of earthquake prediction. Now, we see air masses moving backward here. We see a powerful low right here. Let's let this thing advance. This is the forecast at windy.com, and they have a great mobile app also. So we see two persistent low pressure systems, one here and one here. Low pressure systems usually move west to east, folks. So a low pressure system that sits still is an anomaly in itself. We see a strong low over the Aleutians, raising the earthquake risk for Alaska. And that's just sitting still also. So that's some anomalous stuff there, folks. Let's go look at South America real quick. You see a very strong low in between South America and Antarctica down here. Let's let this one advance also to see if we see any additional anomalies. As we saw some deep quakes there, just east of the Andes. So there's the forecast. And let's move on, because there is so much stuff to cover. Volcano update. Tucano producing a 6,000-foot plume. Sabancaya not identifiable. So it looks, is it the calm before the storm, folks? Could be the calm before the storm. Look at that. Volcano downtick, a major volcano downtick, while an earthquake uptick happens. So we've seen this happen before. They almost seem like volcanoes and earthquakes are inversely proportional to each other. Got theories? Leave a comment. We are interested. Next, we'll do a value-added service here and show you the U.S. Doppler radar as we see some snow falling in Minnesota northern Wisconsin, North Dakota, Montana, and even some snow showers in northern PA, New York, Maine. We see some in Colorado, some in Utah, and we see some heavy storms in the central U.S. Let's zoom in on that. These are dangerous looking storms, folks. If you're in these areas, hunker down. Let's get the best view here. There we go. There are those systems. We're going to show you the water vapor map in one moment. But let's let this sit here for one moment. Missouri, you are about to get hammered. As that area right there, that's a severe thunderstorm, hail producing, possibly tornadic system. It looks very bad. And yeah, let's look at the water vapor map here to give you an idea what's going on in the upper atmosphere right after we look at the lightning, because there's a lot of lightning coming down, folks. Check out lightningmaps.org if you haven't already. Muscatine. Heads up, Muscatine. Get inside if you are outside at 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever time it is there. 3:30. Galesburg, you might be experiencing gale force winds in a moment, so be prepared. Seriously though, Missouri, Kansas City, you are right in line of this. And Rockford, you're going to get rock-ed by thunder, lightning, and nasty storms. Let's check out the NASA GOES water vapor map here, as we do most days. We're going to show you the overall view. So there you have that. So we see a major convergence zone going on here. And it's making a slight turn to the east here. There's going to be some stagnation, and there's going to be some training of these storms, meaning that they're going to kind of line up and hit the same location over and over again. So be prepared. It's probably going to cause some flooding. I know there's a lot of flooding issues there already. And things like heavy rainstorms and hailstorms and things like that are not welcome in this area. Let's do a zoom in of where the action's about to happen to give folks in that area the best possible idea of what the atmosphere is doing. So there's a zoom on that. Turning a little bit to the east. And we see one hell of a convergence line right here. Cosmic ray flux, anyone? Global warming update. The planet is so hot that there's snow all over the northern hemisphere on the 29th of April. Check out China and Russia. How many crops do you think are being planted in these areas, folks? How about zero? How about zero? And Greenland, oh my gosh, Greenland is melting. Greenland is melting. There's only more than 5 meters of snow there, putting it off the entire scale. We don't even know how much snow. But at least 9 feet from coast to coast, the planet is so hot that it must be cold. I guess that's the way it works, folks. Buckyballs found in space in the interstellar medium. How do you like that? We'll leave links to the article. Buckyballs have been confirmed in space. Yeah, that's right. The Buckminster fullerene has been found floating around in the interstellar medium. Now, I used to think radio astronomy was boring in the 90s, and now it's one of the most interesting things that there is. We'll put links after the live stream's complete. Buckyballs floating in space. A lot of news about M87 lately. Let's open the chat here before we get to more stuff. And play another track. Uh-oh. We got a low memory warning, folks. Let's hope I don't crash the system here. And what should we play? How about Vaporizer? Don't get vaporized, folks. Thanks for joining us, Eden. All right, now we got some more stuff to get to here, folks. Here's an article about M87, the galaxy around the black hole that everybody's claiming is a thing. We're not going to get into the weeds on it right now, but there's an article here on phys.org. We'll leave links after the video again. So some more information about M87. Nothing particularly groundbreaking. Galactic scale jet. Let's move on. Whoops. No, we're not going to tweet it. If you're interested in the transients for M87, we'll leave links for that in the description also. We have seen an uptick in transients. Now, we emailed the Swift Bat telescope here about this dead region, which shows up on everything, and that's anomalous data that they removed on purpose because they weren't getting the right data. So they're looking at trying to reformulate that section. Don't freak out about the universe shutting down between day 90 and day 100 of 2019, as the universe did not shut down. If you're not familiar with this page, the Swift Bat Hard X-ray Transient Monitor is a burst alert telescope, and you can look up anything on here. For instance, if you want to see the emissions of the Andromeda Galaxy, just hit Control F if you're using Brave browser, at least. Most browsers, Control F works to find on page. And let's look at M31. I don't know if that's the right thing. Let's try again. Okay. I don't know. I'm not sure what that showed me there. M31. I don't think that's the Andromeda Galaxy, folks, but anyway, we'll leave links to this page, and I'm going to show you a couple transients here. Here's Cygnus X3, also known as Deneb, which has gone into a massively dense outburst phase. And it usually does do this after these really low phases of activity. Not to be confused with this, which is a lack of data. Okay? Check it out. Cygnus X3, aka Deneb. Here's Cygnus X1, which is showing a similar signature in the last few days, as there is energy from space coming out of Cygnus, folks. If you weren't aware, now you are. Here's Cygnus A, the massive radio galaxy, also showing a similar signature. Is there some sort of propagation being caused here by the radiation from Cygnus A? Now, Cygnus A is the second strongest radio source in the sky, after only the sun. And it's over 500 million light years away. If you think you're not connected with the rest of the universe, think again. Anyway, there's a radio image of Cygnus A at 5 gigahertz. Again, this is the strongest radio source in the sky, second only to the sun. If you're not familiar with Cygnus A, have a read. We'll leave links to the wiki article. Next, I would link you to a quantum mechanics discussion by Mr. Bagashov, which he's just done. It's only been up there for, I don't know, I guess a few minutes. It's only got 24 views. So go over there and listen to his discussion on quantum mechanics if you're not familiar. He's talking about Alice Cooper and SpongeBob.
Communication to kind of let the other party know what kind of result they have. So if they stop seeing these correlations, it means that some third party actually tries to intercept these signals, right?
And there's Eve. I don't know what's going on with that, but we're going to watch this later while we go out and do applied science in the field. Next, I direct you to Rolf Visché's page about the plasma sun, as it is one of the theories of what the sun is made of, how the sun works, etc. I would invite you to read all opinions. I would note this has not been updated today. Again, the 10.7 centimeter radial flux has gone up 1 solar flux unit. Let's look at some more views of the sun here as more data has come in during the live stream. Now we're 8 hours and 45 minutes worth. Let's look at the colored magnetogram here just to see if there's anything, any activity kicking off. Small active region there. And something went wrong. Aw, snap. I think we're running out of memory, folks. And I think I'm running out of patience. Try that again. All right, let me bring out the chat here, say hi to everybody, and then make my escape. Oops. Somebody's going to learn how to write software again, folks. Don't worry. It's a problem that's going to be solved one of these days, and I can't go to full screen. We're going down with the ship, folks. We're going down with the ship. Anyway, as I was attempting to draw, there's some activity there and some activity there, and it's super weak. That could suddenly turn into a sunspot without warning. Let's look at 171 angstroms, as it's my personal favorite. So thanks again for joining, everybody. Graceful Cat, it's probably blurry because of your connection. And we are out of here. So thanks again, donors especially. It means a lot. $1 a month makes a huge difference. Please support the channel in any way you can, whether it's sharing on your social media, attempting to get us more subscribers, as it seems nearly impossible to do so. Not even at 1,400 subscribers yet, folks. And we're doing something nobody else does on this channel. So we're trying to make a resource here for anybody in the whole world on any level to study this stuff. Please encourage people you know to do the same. In any case, when you're staring at the sun, don't drink, and if you drink, don't drive. Just stare at the sun anyway. Use the proper instruments. And since it'll never be now again, may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.